Hey everyone. All right, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about growing small flowers or shooting small flowers. One of the things that I think we can do to forward plan, so maybe toward next spring, is deciding what kind of flowers or plants or whatever subjects you've been shooting work best. And I'm going to focus on flowers today, but this could go for grasses and weeds. It could go for still life photography. It could go for a lot of different things. But one of the things that I've noticed and that's been punctuated time and again this past summer is that size of flower matters as well as the kind of details that it has. There have been many failures, and I'll show you some of those so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. When I was photographing images this summer, and I have a few of my favorites here in my Flickr, and by the way, there is a Flickr group for, not necessarily for the Creative Photography Network, but it's one that you're welcome to join. This is called the Garden Therapy Group, and I love it. So I created that for people who want to share their images in a more social area without maybe the pressures of Facebook or Instagram. But anyway, back to my gallery here. I found that the things that were hardest for me this year were the big flowers like peonies, or even this is a Gloriosa daisy, and this one was actually as big as my hand. It was huge, and I filled the frame with it, and I think it's striking. But I struggled with flowers that were this big because really, it's hard to find fine details and fill the frame with them because they're so large, and they really lose their drama if you start to slice and dice them. So as I was working through my images, evaluating this summer and what I've shot so far, it's actually the little tiny things that have made me really excited. So this is an Allium. It's in the onion family. It's about the size of a quarter. And I wasn't using a macro lens. It's kind of a fallacy that you have to have a macro lens to do macro-like things. Really, it boils down to the size, not the size, but the focusing distance of your lens. If you have a lens that focuses really close, you're golden. And this one didn't necessarily focus terribly close, but I was able to crop in a little bit. And you can make macro type images with a regular lens. In this case, my favorite this summer has been the 135. Pretty much all of these were taken with that. And it really comes down to how your voice feels it's most comfortable, how you feel most comfortable behind the lens, and behind your camera. And for me, the 135 has been just everything I've wanted this summer. For whatever reason. I had it last summer, didn't use it that much. So I think we grow into things and discover more about ourselves. But anyway, as I was looking through, I realized that most of the flowers that I shoot are about 2 inches or less in diameter. The exceptions might be things like this Dahlia, which has a lot of detail. I just took this yesterday. It was really pretty and I loved it, but it was bigger. But the detail area, whoops, I don't know what's going on there. It's kind of like punching in. The detail area in the middle was maybe an inch across. So the area that was most fascinating to me was tiny. When I was looking through things like poppies, Russian sage, little tiny cosmos. This was one that I just took yesterday as well. This little bumblebee was right in this cosmos. This was tiny. This cosmos was maybe an inch and a half across. And as you see it here, would be bigger open, but it was sort of, I don't even know if it was opening or if it was shriveling. It was kind of hard to tell. But this little bee was just perfectly spaced in there. And you know how big a bumblebee is, so you can get an idea. But again, this was with my 135, not with any kind of macro lens. And it was just really happy for me. I really enjoyed the shooting process. So that's what I wanted to throw out here today for discussion. I don't really have a lot to say, except I will show you some failures, so you know that I'm not perfect. I make good images all the time. But I saw a pattern, and I thought I'd mention it because I know this is the time of year when things start to wind down. We start to think about fall, and then maybe you start to get emails about roots that are, fall planted, or tubers or bulbs like tulips that are fall planted. And so you're kind of thinking about spring. And so that's what I've been doing a lot of, is thinking about spring and what I want to grow. And I know I want to grow poppies and bee balm. And this was kind of fun. This is called Echinops, and it's in the Echinacea family, I believe. And it's kind of fun. I mean, they have spiky things. It looks almost like a Dr. Seuss plant, but really fun when paired with yellow. This is not my garden. I sort of stalk other people's gardens that are near alleyways and, near the road, if I can. And this was a neighbor, and I love it. All right, so let's show you some mess ups. Let's go into my bridge. So yesterday I was shooting and I ran into a lot of trouble, just to show you that things aren't always awesome. I have a lot of sunflowers right now, and the time of day and the light makes a lot of difference. In this time of day, I'm not even sure what was happening. I think there was a lot of green color casting bouncing around. Obviously the garden is green, but it was just not coming through okay. So this was maybe, I don't think it says the time of day. Okay, so 6:13 p.m. So it was late. It was later, but for whatever reason, the light was just terrible, and it got better as the night went on. By 8 o'clock, it was kind of nice, but you can see that these big flowers, like sunflowers, are really hard for me to figure out how to shoot, because either the petals spill off the edge of the frame, or the focus on my camera was having trouble getting the bee. I should have flipped to manual focus for sure, but it was also whipping in the wind, so that makes it hard too. Let me show you the dahlia before. This is what it looked like before. So this is the before image. Yep, that's a before image straight out of the camera. And then I went from there to there. So it was quite a dramatic jump, but not super complicated or anything. But I love dahlias. Those are on my list, but I want to grow the smaller ones. When you get the big, giant, like cafe au lait dahlias that are dinner plate dahlias, they're gorgeous, but it's really hard to photograph them because they're so big, and they either fill the frame or maybe you find some details, but they're really difficult because you can't get much environment with them. Well, I guess you can depending on your focal length. But anyway, talk to me about it. Do you like big flowers, little flowers? When the push comes to shove, what do you love to photograph? What else? So this neighbor with the Echinops also had little cosmos, and I liked the way the light was coming through, and so I photographed a bunch of things. But let's see, this is the after of the bee, and this is what it started like. I just wanted to show you. The white balance was really cool because of the time of day. It was, I think the time is wrong. I believe this was actually quite late. This is probably about 8:30. And my gray blue colored house was sort of sending a color cast. So I fixed that in post and then just cropped in to get that. And in my workshop area in the forum, I go into a lot of my editing process, and it's very repetitive, but I use kind of the same thing in every program. I can't go into it in this video, but there's a lot of instruction over there if you're interested in digging deeper. But it wasn't a huge involved edit, but it went from there to there pretty quickly, probably like 5 minutes maybe or less. Anyway, small flowers. I'm opening the discussion down below. I want to hear what you have to say, what you enjoy. And it doesn't just flowers. If you like grasses or leaves or little weeds, whatever it is, I'd love to hear why you like to shoot what you like to shoot. What is it about those subjects that make you excited? And totally off topic, not really off topic, but sort of tying in with it. Do you prefer to shoot things that are cut and brought inside, or do you prefer to shoot in situ, like in the garden itself? I am a person who loves to shoot things as they're living in their spot. While I have a friend who you probably know over at the Salted Collective who loves to cut flowers and bring them in. So it really goes to personality too, as far as which thing jives with you most. And yeah, I just love cosmos. Cosmos are high on my list as well. Anyway, so I will just leave it there, and let's open a discussion. I'm really curious now that we have a couple months into summer. Those of you who like to do flowers and things, what do you like and why? All right, thanks. Bye-bye.